Okay, so now I am going to the next content. I don't know what to teach you guys now. Okay, I'll be teaching you suboccipital triangle because it is a small part. The cervical part of sympathetic trunk that requires, I think two classes minimum, and Horner syndrome is actually the clinical correlation of this one, but it will not be asked as maybe asked as a short note. So suboccipital triangle rarely asked. What is more important in suboccipital triangle is cisternal puncture, which we have learned in this cisterna magna. I have talked about cisternal puncture, but you don't know where actually it is put, like how like lumbar puncture, between L3 and L4 vertebra, you don't know about that. So we'll learn. If it is asked, write something about suboccipital triangle, because the cervical puncture is done. Cisternal cervical puncture, it is done in this suboccipital triangle. So the boundaries are superior laterally. You need to remember the muscles. There are muscles: rectus capitis, 4 muscles: rectus capitis posterior, major, minor. Obliquus capitis, superior, inferior. What? Rectus capitis posterior, major, minor, and then obliquus capitis, superior and inferior. So the superomedially it is formed by two muscles: rectus capitis posterior, major and minor. Superolaterally it is formed by obliquus capitis superior. Inferiorly it is formed by obliquus capitis inferior. Okay, and the roof is formed by semispinalis, splenius capitis, longissimus capitis, and the floor is formed by the posterior arch of the atlas and posterior membrane of atlas. Okay, there is posterior membrane of atlas and posterior arch of the atlas. It forms this. Now the contents are suboccipital plexus of veins. What? Suboccipital plexus of veins. Then greater occipital nerve. Then comes this actually greater occipital nerve is actually the thickest cutaneous nerve. Okay, thickest cutaneous nerve of our body. Or the longest cutaneous nerve of the body. Something about this is actually something thickest, or either the thickest cutaneous nerve of our body. But I thought it was, sciatic nerve is multipolar, right? Yeah, so this is the thickest cutaneous nerve of the body, that is greater occipital nerve. Then there is dorsal rami of first cranial nerve, which is also called suboccipital nerve. What is it called? Suboccipital nerve. Greater occipital nerve, suboccipital plexus of veins. So everything is occipital. Then comes third part of the vertebral artery. So actually, how many parts of vertebral artery are there? 4 parts are there. First, second, third, fourth. The fourth one, it passes through the atlas vertebra in the groove after emerging out of the foramen transversarium as the second part. Then it passes through this groove, and then it enters the foramen magnum, and after it enters the foramen magnum, it forms the fourth part. So the third part of the vertebral artery lies here. Now for cisternal puncture, which is why we are here, it is introduced into the midline of spine of the axis of vertebra, right? Spine of the axis of vertebra, and it is inserted such a way that into the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane. It pierces this membrane at 2 inches in adults. So medulla lies just 1 inch below that. So we need to be taking care. Okay, so what is important? To the spine of the axis of the vertebra it is put, and it pierces the posterior atlanto-occipital membrane 2 inches in depth. That is important.